I suck at making top 10s, so this is not a top, and this is also not a 10. In fact, I listed 13 games that I think work very good today as Atari 2600 games. So let's start in alphabetical order with Berzerk, a good port of the arcade game that I have only watched. I haven't played the arcade game. And Berzerk can be a good time. It's not the best in this list, and it has some problems like enemies spawning over you at the spawn point, and the game generates new stages and whatnot, so it's always just, it's the kind of game that you pop in on the Atari 2600 and it just works and it's fun to play all the time. Well, what else? We have Defender 2, which is also another decent port, and Defender 2, it's pretty fun to play again, but once again, I think that there are other games that do the job better, you know? Just like with Berzerk, like with Berzerk you have a top-down view, with Defender you have a side view, and these are good games on the Atari 2600 games. They are still very playable and very fun, but I think that we have better examples later. So let's continue with Dragonfire, which is both a side view and also a top-down view game, and it feels like a collection of two mini games that you play one after the other, and it's so fun. Actually, this one I play more than the two previous games I mentioned, and I don't know, it's always striking to me how good this game is. And I really recommend this one, in fact. I will recommend this one for you to play if you want to see why the Atari 2600 is still a very playable system. Next we continue with H.E.R.O, which is a game I have seen many people mention in top 10s and whatnot. And I like it, but I also think that it's a bit unfair. There are some things that you just don't see, and I don't know, I don't connect with this game as much as other people. The gameplay is pretty fun as well. It's a 2D, it's a side view game, and you have to rescue people. I forgot to explain Dragonfire, but I don't know why am I even explaining this game. Like, you can just see them and understand them. That's the beauty of the Atari system. But here is a bit more complex in the sense that you have to place dynamite to destroy walls, and you also shoot, and you can solve puzzles that way. And I think in that regard, H.E.R.O can be very fun, but I don't know, I just feel like it's not my favorite on this list. Next up is Laser Gates, and this one is, I think that it's my favorite in side view shooter, and while the player section is very small, I just, it's the vibe, you know, it's the graphics, it's everything, really. The gameplay works as you would expect, but the things that they introduce sonically and in view are pretty fun, actually, and I really enjoy this one. I will definitely recommend Laser Gates, and I feel like it's an unique experience that you won't have anywhere else. Next up is Millipede, and this one, it's a port of Centipede, the sequel, Millipede, and it works fine, and I really love Millipede and Centipede, so I really enjoy this version of the game. I have played the NES version. I don't know what is it. I think that the original Centipede had like paddle controllers or something that make it better, but Millipede is better overall. It's a better Centipede in general, so I prefer this game. Next up is Montezuma's Revenge, and I think that this might be one of the best Atari 2600 and 80s computer games ever. It's very similar. I associate it with a Metroidvania, really. And you collect some things to unlock other things, to unlock doors, to kill enemies, and whatnot. And you have to explore all these screens, kind of like a Metroidvania. And I don't know, it's just fun, and it's a very competent platformer. And speaking of that, I have Pitfall II on this list as well. And Pitfall II is, I prefer it over the original, definitely. And while it's not Montezuma, it's another good time, you know, collecting things and going through mazes or whatnot. And I mean, they differentiate a lot. Like, you die in Pitfall, you go back a lot, but in Montezuma you go back to the same screen. And they are both very hard games, but I usually try to get different routes in them all the time, and that makes them very special for me. It's not very arcadey, you will say, for the Atari, but it's just a good time overall. These games could work in a more modern setting. These are more modern games. Next up is Reactor. I'm a reactor that reacts to Genesis. No, I'm just kidding. But the thing with Reactor is that it's insane, really. Like you feel like you will be controlling this on a real reactor, even though it doesn't make any sense. And some people really didn't understand this game at the time. And you have to hit these things that are trying to push you into the reactor, into the center, and you have to push these things to the side. And I feel like this could be a very good gameplay nowadays that could be used in one of those EO games. Imagine like this big system of small things trying to attack you versus big things, and you have to push them. That will be very fun. I feel like I am gifting an idea, but if someone watches this video and wants to make a game with massive multiplayer appeal, you should copy Reactor or something. Next up is River Ride, and this is my most played Atari game. In the Atari 800 XL, I only have this game on a cassette, and I believe that this is one of the finest games ever. It has a pretty addictive push and pull, and the game really gets going. It becomes harder, and while it feels like the stages don't change much, they do change a lot, but not much. I mean, they get more narrow and whatnot near the later levels, but there is a surprising amount of enemy variety. So I feel like this is probably my crown achievement if I try to explain an Atari game that has aged incredibly well, I will always postulate River Raid, because this is the game that I played with my cousins, with my little cousins, and they loved. We played for hours, so I definitely recommend River Raid. That's probably my number one, but all that I have mentioned, Laser Gates, Reactor, Montezuma, and Pitfall, are awesome. Next up, I have Solar Storm, which is another one that has this kind of vibe. It works with the paddle controls, and I don't know, it feels very special to play this one in a dark room. So well done, Solar Storm. You are over the competition, and you're probably my favorite vertical shooter. No, that will be Millipede. Well, not Millipede shooter on the Atari 2600. Next up is Solaris. And Solaris is a game that I really don't understand, but it looks cool and it plays well. But when I understand it, it works really well. So I don't know what this is an honorable mention probably. 16 games, more like 12 games and an honorable mention. And next up is H.E.R.O's Revenge, and this is probably the number one for many, and for me it makes sense more than H.E.R.O. Sorry, H.E.R.O. H.E.R.O's Revenge is brilliant. Like, you have to shoot the defenses of the enemy, and suddenly a missile will go inside and destroy the alien inside the defense, and that thing can hit you. So there's another great example of push and pull, and it gets harder, you know. The defenses increase, the enemies trying to shoot you increase as well. So I really encourage you to play H.E.R.O's Revenge. If you want cool effects and cool gameplay on the Atari, just play H.E.R.O's Revenge. That's the thing. And River Ride feels more conservative, but it's more appealing, you know, like that's the game that makes you play for hours, no problem, definitely. And that's my top 10, or my mention of certain Atari 2600 games that I love and that I think that people should play nowadays. I have seen discussions of people saying that NES games haven't aged well, and I think that's rubbish. I think that the Atari 2600 is getting sidelined in that same kind of discussion, and I think that people should play these games. Anyways, that's all from me. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.